Welcome everybody to my first tutorial. Today we're gonna show you how to set your downloaded .bvh animation files into a T-pose without having to do all that crazy workaround that everybody seems to be doing that I don't even know how they do it. I don't even understand it because I tried it and I don't know, it just got too complicated for me and I just went the easiest route that I could find. So let me get started. We're gonna start by making a human. We're gonna create a Filmbox file, an FBX, so you can import it into Maya. And then once it's imported into Maya, we're gonna import the .bvh file animation, and we're gonna set both of them into a T-pose, so you can what's called combine them together, because everybody knows the .bvh file is too hard to try and set it from its initial form if it's not already set into a T-pose. Anyway, this is MakeHuman. It's an open source software that you can download on the internet. I won't get into any of the details of it because I just don't have time for that, and I'm sure you don't either. Anyway, we're gonna go into files. We're gonna go to export. You can set to wherever you want to set your export to. Mine is set to the desktop, and we're gonna click on Filmbox FBX. We are going to name him. We're going to go make him make human, and that's gonna be his name. We're also going to pose again. We're gonna scroll down. Boom, there's your T-pose. So now we've set our character into a T-pose, which is crucial for you to get started in these animations. It's something very basic, and it seems that nobody seems to have set it into their animation. But anyway, we have the T-pose, so now we're going to export it. I'm just gonna go ahead and click export. It tells me that the file already exists. Do I want to overwrite it? And I'm gonna say yes, because it doesn't really matter. I just have stuff there. So I overwritten the MakeHuman file, and here it is, MakeHuman FBX. So we're gonna close this down. We're gonna quit it. Yes, we want to quit it, and we're gonna open up Maya. So while Maya fires up, I'm going to explain to you that the T-pose that we're going to bring in is very simple. So anyway, you have to download the BVH importer script for Maya from Jeroen Holzman, copyright 2012. It's a free download. Look it up. I'm sure you can find it. It's a simple Python file. I don't know anything about Python, and I'm not a pro at Maya, so disclaimer here, I suck at it. I've learned how to do this on my own, kind of. I did go to school for it, but Jesus, this thing is like flying a goddamn spaceship. So many buttons everywhere. Anyway, let's click on the Python run, and you'll get an importer window that will pop up for the BVH importer, and then we're going to bring it over here and click import. It's a cool little importer window. It's not that fancy, but we're gonna go to the desktop and we're gonna bring in our animation file that wherever you have it, download it, import it, blah blah blah. You know all of that. I don't have to get into it. So it takes a little while for it to load up. What's called, so usually we'll get a death of wheel depending on how fast your system is. Mine is a MacBook 2012 i7. I don't even know. It's not that great, but it actually is pretty great for the stuff that I do. So anyway, download the BBH Importer 1.01 created by Jerome Holzman. And there's our animation, buddies. You see it? As you can see, timeline is full of animation. I have my outline set up here. I can click on the mocap grp file, and what's called you'll see the whole thing. I'll press play so you guys can see the animation. Right now it's only set to 120 frames, which I will increase so you guys can see a little better. We'll increase it down to 1500 frames. So if I click on my mocap animation, you'll see the whole timeline is filled. Like, just, it's incredibly too much to try and adjust. We're not trying to adjust it, we're just trying to show you that the animation is true. What's called you'll see him, it starts to skip along on the floor field, and it goes all the way out of screen. I could increase it, but we don't have time for that. What we want to do is we want to show you how this beautiful little thing here starts off not on a T-pose, and we want it to set on a T-pose so we can bring this skeleton into our character and animate our character without having to deal with all kinds of headaches. So with that being said, let me tell you what the trick is. The trick is that on the timeline, everybody in the world knows that everything which comes to animation and video editing, all of that stuff, starts off with the timeline 0. And this, for some particular reason, Maya Autodesk, they tend to start their timeline at 1. We see here 1. Set the start time of animation at 1. It says set the start playback range at 1. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change that, because as you can see here in the little corner, there's a 0 there. So I don't know, ask Autodesk, ask Maya, I don't really know. All I can tell you is that if you punch in 0 here and you punch in 0 there, because then you see that just increase and you see that gap there, that means there is no animation at 0, and now your timeline starts at 0 and it starts at playback at 0. So with that being said, all we have to do is move our character back to 0, and voila, ladies and gentlemen, we have a T-pose on our BVH file. And because there is absolutely no keyframes there, the thing is set to 0, and you can bring in your file, which we will do now. Go to the desktop, and we will go down to, what do we need? Make human. Here it is, make human FBX. We will import it. There it is. We will grab the damn thing. It comes with the meshes of eyes also, so we're gonna just grab both of them, and we're gonna scale them down, down. Keep going, buddy. All right, and then we're gonna go to 4 windows. What happened? What happened? Oh my God! What did... Anyway, having a headache again. My windows won't open up, so we're just gonna align it as best as we can. Scale them down. We'll say about there. It's not perfect. You could bring in any joint and adjust it however you need it. It won't affect your animation of any kind because there's no keyframe here. And You want to try and do the best you can, obviously, to try and get your character to match up with the animation as best as you can. This is a simple rig. It doesn't have fingers and stuff. It does have most of the what's called important joints, like the neck and the stomach, the hips and the wrist and stuff like that. It doesn't have any toes, but what's called it does work. And what you want to do is you want to open up your outliner here, and you want to obviously grab some sort of bone, which I tend to have the hips here because it activates the whole entire body. And then you just go to rigging, skin. Oh, I forgot to select the character. So you have both of them. You go to skin, and you bind skin, and boom, voila. So now that it's in a T pose, obviously, as you can see in the timeline here, it's adjusting all of the keyframes. As you can see, it's just like running all of those keyframes into your character. And your character, basically, when it's done, it will have animated everything. And it's in a T pose on the first 0 frame, but then when it goes to the first frame, it will do this. It will take on the animation you needed. As you can see, he skips along. Voila! What do you think, guys? Is this beautiful, simple work or what? There we have it, skipping along. So, this is my first tutorial. Thanks for watching. If you would like to donate, you can search me at Muff Madness on Instagram, at Muff Madness YouTube, at Muff Madness everywhere. That's MUFMANUS. Thanks, guys.